To understand the prophecy of the coming one-world government, we need to understand the two dreams and their interpretation in the book of Daniel. The first dream we will look at is in Daniel chapter 2. Here, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had a troubling dream that he could not understand. He summoned his magicians, enchanters, sorcerers, and astrologers, demanding them not only to interpret the dream, but to tell him what the dream was without him revealing it. When they failed, he ordered their execution. However, Daniel, upon hearing this, sought the Lord for wisdom and was granted the understanding of the dream. In the dream, Nebuchadnezzar saw a great statue with various parts made from different materials. The statue had a head of gold, its chest and arms were of silver, its belly and thighs were made of bronze, its legs were made from iron, and its feet were partly of iron and partly of clay. Lastly, there is a stone, not cut by human hands, that struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay, breaking them to pieces. This stone grew out of a great mountain that filled the whole earth. When summoned by the king tells Daniel in verse 26, "Are you able to make known to me the dream that I had seen and its interpretation?" Daniel responds in verse 27 through 28 and says, "No wise men, enchanters, magicians, or astrologers can show to the king the mystery that the king has asked. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, and he has made known to King Nebuchadnezzar what will be in the latter days." Daniel, after acknowledging that only God can reveal the answers to these kinds of mysteries, recounts the dream to Nebuchadnezzar and then explains its meaning. The head of gold represents Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonian Empire. This empire was known for its wealth and splendor. The chest and arms of silver indicate that after Babylon, another kingdom inferior to Babylon will rise. This kingdom is identified historically as the Medo-Persian Empire. The transition from gold to silver can be seen as moving from a higher to a slightly lower value metal, symbolizing a decrease in glory but an increase in strength and durability. The belly and thighs of bronze speak of a third kingdom that will rule over the whole earth. This is understood to be the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great. Just as bronze is stronger than gold and silver but less precious, the Greek Empire was marked by its military prowess and cultural impact rather than its wealth. The iron legs describe a fourth kingdom as strong as iron, which breaks and shatters everything. This is interpreted as the Roman Empire. Like iron crushing and breaking everything, the Roman Empire was known for its military strength and dominance. Although not explicitly stated, historically the two legs likely represent the balance of power because of the division of the Roman Empire between the Western Roman Empire, which was in Rome, and the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, with its capital at Constantinople, which is modern-day Istanbul in Turkey. The West-East division became solidified in 395 AD when the Emperor Theodosius I permanently divided the empire between his two sons, leading to separate administrative and cultural development in the East and the West. The Western Empire lasted until 476 AD, and the Eastern Empire lasted until 1453 AD. Incidentally, Turkey was originally part of Meshech and Tubal, which ally with Russia during the future Gog and Magog invasion of Israel. The Russian Orthodox Church has many traditions rooted in the Roman Byzantine legacy. The feet, being partly of iron and partly of clay, refers to a blended or mixed kingdom that will be partly strong and partly brittle. This represents the enduring but fragmented state of the Roman Empire and its influence down through the centuries. The feet also represent the subsequent future political entities, such as the modern political alliances that retain their strong Roman roots in some areas but are fragile in others, which eventually leads to the one-world government, or what is often referred to as the revived Roman Empire. Although the dream does not mention toes, there are 10 toes that belong to the 2 feet. Many scholars believe that the feet represent the one world government in the latter days, and the toes represent the 10 kings that rule the one world government during the first half of the tribulation. We will discuss more about that in a few minutes. The stone represents the kingdom of God, and Daniel explains that the last empire will be when the God of heaven sets up a kingdom that will never be destroyed. This is often understood to be the 1,000-year Messianic kingdom, what we call the millennial kingdom, brought about by Jesus Christ immediately following the 7-year tribulation, or 70th week discussed in Daniel. The second dream or vision is given to Daniel personally and occurs during the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. The vision is described in Daniel chapter 7 along with the interpretation by an angel. The vision itself consists of 4 beasts: God, thrones, judgment, and God's kingdom. Verses 1 through 14 describe the vision. The first beast was like a lion with eagle's wings, which later has its wings plucked off, and is lifted from the ground, and is made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and is given a man's heart. The second beast is like a bear, raised up on one side, with 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth, and it is told to arise, devour much flesh. The third beast is like a leopard with 4 wings of a bird on its back, and 4 heads, and dominion is given to it. And the fourth beast was a terrifying and powerful beast with iron teeth, devouring and breaking into pieces, and trampling what is left with its feet. It has 10 horns, and among the horns rises another horn, a little one, which uproots 3 of the previous horns. This horn has eyes like a man and a mouth speaking great things. In the next part of the vision, Daniel sees thrones set in place, and the Ancient of Days, a title for God, takes his seat. His clothing is white as snow, and the hair on his head is like pure wool. His throne is fiery flames, and its wheels are burning fire. The same throne is as described in Ezekiel and Revelation. This is a vision of a court, where God sits in judgment, and the books are opened from which all unbelievers will be judged. Next, Daniel sees the fourth beast slain, its body destroyed and given over to be burned with fire. Last, Daniel sees one like the Son of Man, a term often referring to Jesus Christ, who comes from the clouds of heaven and is presented before the Ancient of Days. He is given dominion, glory, and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is everlasting and shall not pass away. Verses 15 to 28 give the interpretation of the vision by an angel to Daniel. The 4 great beasts represent 4 kings or kingdoms that will arise from the earth. The fourth beast, more terrifying than the others, represents a kingdom that will devour the whole earth, trampling it down and breaking it to pieces. The 10 horns are 10 kings that will arise from the fourth kingdom. The little horn represents another king who will arise, different from the former ones, and will subdue 3 kings. The king will speak against the Most High, persecute the saints of the Most High, and attempt to change the times and the laws. The saints will be given into his hand for a time, times, and a half-time, which is interpreted to mean 3.5 years. Ultimately, the court will sit in judgment. His dominion will be taken away, and the kingdom will be given to the saints of the Most High. The kingdom and the dominion will be everlasting. The historical and prophetical application of the vision goes like this. The first beast, that is the lion with the eagle's wings, represents Babylon. The lion symbolizes strength, and the wings represent swiftness. The transformation, where the wings are plucked, he stands like a man and is given a man's heart, symbolizes the humbling and rehumanizing of Nebuchadnezzar after his period of insanity as depicted in Daniel chapter 4. The second beast, which is the bear, represents the Medo-Persian Empire. The bear being raised on one side symbolizes the dominance of the Persian part of the empire over the Medes. The 3 ribs represent its conquests over Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. The third beast, which is the leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads, is identified as the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great. The leopard's swiftness and the additional wings symbolize the rapid conquest of Alexander. The 4 heads represent the division of his empire into 4 parts after his death, which were controlled by his generals, Cassander, Lysimachus, Seleucus, and Ptolemy. The 4th beast represents the Roman Empire. Its terrifying strength signifies its unparalleled power and long-lasting endurance. Its iron teeth describe its ability to devour all other dominions. The 10 horns are the 10 kings that will rule the first half of the tribulation. The little horn is the Antichrist, who will subdue 3 of the kings and will speak arrogantly and persecute the saints. The Ancient of Days represents God the Father in his eternal sovereignty. The Son of Man is Jesus Christ, who is given everlasting dominion. Now that we have looked at Nebuchadnezzar's dream and Daniel's vision, we can see that the last kingdom, the feet and toes of Nebuchadnezzar's statue and the 4th beast of Daniel's vision, become the one world government that lasts into the start of the tribulation period. Daniel's prophecy states that this kingdom or government will be different from all previous kingdoms, suggesting a form of global governance that significantly reduces the sovereignty and administrative functions of the individual nations. The centralized authority, advanced mechanisms of control, and the dynamic leadership structure imply a model where national governments have limited autonomy. We can be quite certain that the one world government will come from the Western world, not the Eastern world, because of its deeply ingrained Roman influence, cultural heritage, and historical ties to the legacy of the Roman Empire, which laid the foundations for the modern Western political and legal systems. After we finish discussing the remaining events that must occur before the start of the tribulation, we will delve into the likely dynamics of how the one world government might come into existence and what it could look like. At that time, we will examine the sequence of events incorporating projected advancements in artificial intelligence and technology alongside Paul's letter to Timothy to provide a more complete picture and possible timeline.